Greetings, fellow cruisers. This is Jeff from Enjoy Life Traveling. Today we're going to talk about casinos, tips, tricks, facts, and quite honestly, the last thing is a new change that it's pretty shocking, quite honestly. I mean, I was genuinely shocked, so stay tuned. I'll save that for the last. But I'm hoping to teach you some things here, things that I haven't brought up before. I may touch on a couple things that I have. So stay tuned. It's going to be good, I think. So one of the things that comes up a lot is people are not necessarily getting points when they're doing the table games. And there's a little bit more to that than just going up and playing a game. It's not just about your bet and how much you lost, but it's going to be about how much you bet and how long you played and how consistently your bets were, so they can monitor it. But with that also goes the relationship between you and the host, the pit bosses, how you're acting towards the dealers, because it is more subjective when you're playing a video game, when you're playing slot machines or video poker. The machine's keeping score, and it doesn't care if you're a jerk or not. It doesn't care if you had a bad day, good day, if you're super nice or just kind of rude. It just keeps track of points. On this one, when you're talking to a casino host or you're talking to the pit bosses and the dealers, they're conversing and talking about what's going on. And like it or not, just like most people in real life, you react to the people around you, and you get, what is it, catch more flies with honey than you do vinegar, something like that is the saying. And it's that way. So I want you to, if you're looking to do something with points, the first thing I want to tell you to do is start off by introducing yourself to the casino host and getting to know them. If you're going to be on a ship, particularly for a long time, that can be a good relationship, and making sure that you get all the perks. Some things are automatic, but when it comes to making sure your points are right, you want to make sure that you're on their good side, because again, there is some discretion there, and you're gonna do more and you're gonna get more if you introduce yourself and you are a gracious guest. So when you're playing those table games, it's about how long you're playing and how much the bet is. So if you're playing a game and you are just losing, and it's not something that gives you a chance to balance out, it's going to be harder to do well as far as getting the points goes. And sometimes a game like, say, craps, you have a chance to kind of hedge your bet. You can bet higher, and it's risky regardless, so I'm not telling you to do this, but I'm saying if you want to learn about craps, there are ways to hedge your bet to where if you hit good or bad, you can gain more points because you're betting more money, and you may lose it in one end and get it on the other end and break even, come out a little ahead, come out a little down. Yes, things can go wrong with it, but there's a way to do that in that particular game. And I'm not familiar with all the games, but I wanted to let you know that having those higher bets will help you greatly as far as your points go. Whereas again, a lot of those games, you just don't do that. You're not going to get a whole lot for blackjack and such like that. And when you're on a cruise, the odds are not the same. So when you are betting, if you find a $10 table, it's probably going to have 6 to 5 odds instead of the 3 to 2. So if you're not good with the fractions, 3 to 2 comes out to 6 to 4. And so you're losing a bit. In blackjack, just roughly speaking, to convey, you're talking the house is going to get 51% to the player, 49% generally. But when you're using those odds, you lose a little bit more. And so it's a good game to keep you balanced, but it's usually not a high betting game, so you're not going to get a ton of points to play for a very long time. But knowing how to play those games can make all the difference in the world. And that's the next point, is that people will go and they'll play blackjack, and if you don't know really what you're doing in the game, you not only, well, you're going to lose, but you're also going to probably upset the table, and that's because everybody else is playing to win. And if you're not playing with the proper strategy on it, you could bother a player some players that are really good, because people might see and get tens and say, oh well, good tens, I'm going to split those. Well, you've already got a winning hand, so you don't want to split tens. And if you split tens, and more cards are coming away for other people to try to make their hand, and playing poorly can make a huge differences to the next cards that other people get. So you don't want to have more face cards taken away from the table as a whole, and you're taking what is a good chance of being a winning hand, and you're throwing it away because your tens you could get a 3 or 4 or 6, And the same thing on the other one, whereas now you're trying to hit and you could bust real easy. So if you're going to be splitting cards, something like an 8 would be, if you have 8s, that might be something to split on, because now if you get the 10s, you're at 18, dealer has to stay at 17 and hit on 16, so you're in a little bit better position there, but just keep your 20. So anyway, with the points, knowing how to play those games can make all the difference in the world as far as keeping your money and gaining points so you can play a while. But it's that length at the table that's going to make the difference. If you go down and you play any one of the table games and you're there for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, half an hour, that's not a lot of time at the game. Even really an hour is not a lot of time playing a game, but you at least want to get to an hour so they can get you some points, because that's how they're going to be doing that. They're going to be looking at that time spent at the table. So I would tell you, if you're going to sit at the table, I would plan on at least an hour to play the game. And if you're going in the casino and playing for points, you're talking about putting several hours in over multiple days if you're playing for points. If you're not playing for points and getting those casino offers, you play your game however you want to play it, as far as spending your money and your time. But a lot of what I do in this video is about how to get free cruises, and that's what I want you to know, is getting those points, and that's the best way to do it. So the next thing I want to talk about was free play. So if you've gambled in the casino and you've gotten a cruise offer, you may have some free play. And some people think that the free play in, say, a slot machine play is different than if you put cash in, and that is not true. It's absolutely not true. The machine has no idea what's what. They're not programmed that way, and I'm going to get a little bit more into programming later. But the game's going to play the same on it, and how you play that free play is up to you. But when you're doing free play, you do not gain points off of free play. However, if you win, say you got $10 free play, you're not going to gain points as you do that $10. But if you win, $100, $50, doesn't matter. Once you've bet on a slot machine, once you've bet through $10 worth that it's counted, it's going to start accruing points. So if you have $100 free play and you hit and you're a couple hundred up and you go through that 100, that was a part of your free play. Everything that you have, even it's winnings, but it's your money. So you will start gaining points from that point forward. And that's obviously, again, what you want to do there. And I'm going to repeat this because to me it's a lot. If you're playing for points and you want to get to me, the best offers, people often play for the tier, for Prime, they play for the instant cruise certificate, but I am a strong believer in the way that I get them, which is the email offers, or if you go to the clubroyaloffers.com, your player number is your Crown and Anchor number, and your last name will ask for those. You get sent these offers periodically, and to me, it's a lot more lucrative. I make a lot more cruise offers and take a lot more cruise offers doing that. And I don't have to spend as much money to be able to get those offers. So if you're looking for free cruises, I would tell you, again, I play low and slow on a low volatility game. I've got some videos out about the volatility, and you want to play for a long period of time. So if I'm on a cruise, I'm usually going to spend, a couple hours, if not 3 hours or more, in the casino and playing low bets and trying to make sure that I'm gaining the points. Now, the argument that I'll hear people say is that, well, if you bet higher, you're going to get more points. And that's true to a point, because when you're playing those higher bets, you are going to lose it. So if they're betting 5 times higher than me, it'll take me 5 more spins betting the minimum to get what they have, but I've got 5 more spins to potentially win. So if they lose in, spin 1, I'm getting 5 spins out of that, to where I'm going to be winning or losing as I go there. So I'm not going to just flat out lose. Typically in 5 spins, you're going to have some sort of a win. Even if it's next to nothing, there'll be something there. And a lot of times you're playing for the progressives or the different jackpots that are up there. And many times, first of all, the odds are not against you, or the odds are against you to begin with. So if you're going to play for that, and you can get, particularly some of them, you actually get the same amount even if you bet low or high. So just bet low, because the odds are already against you that you're going to hit it, but you want a chance, and I have done that. So bet low and give yourself, again, 5 times more chances than the person that's betting 5 times more to you to hit those numbers. So that's how you're going to gain your points, and you're going to get more entertainment. And quite honestly, if you're playing for points, the first thing you need to be doing is playing for entertainment, because if you're not enjoying yourself, it's not worth doing. Again, the free cruises are great, but to spend your money and your time, if you'd really rather be doing something else, you're probably better off going that direction. So the other thing I want to make sure you guys understand is, you got the tournaments out there. It doesn't matter if it's cards or if it's the slot tournaments. You do not get points, even though you're putting in 25 or 35, or some of the table games might be $100 buy-in to play. You do not accrue points playing in the tournaments. Now, if you host a slot tournament and you're the host and your card is in there, you will get points. But a lot of times, to me, there's more risk involved than reward to do it right, and most of the times people don't do it right. If you watch the people that do this, the slots, they're actually the one that's always pushing the button. Nobody else is pushing it. And that's because technically whoever pushes that button and wins is the winner of the money. So if I've got a slot tournament and I've got 20 people there, 50 people there, and we hit the grand, we hit the big jackpot, but they push the button, they can say, well, I pushed the button and it's my money, and technically they don't have to share and nobody can do anything about it. People are going to be up in arms. You'll see it all over Facebook, whatever. But that's just the bottom line, is if you're going to host a tournament, most of the time people it won't be an issue, but there's some risk involved with it, and you're going to be the one, if someone walks away with the grand, that they're going to be looking at, because they don't know if you were in on it or not. So keep that in mind when you're hosting the tournaments. It may not be worth the extra points that you're going to get spinning through that. And I've hosted a few before I really understood it, and it's really not worth the points, in my opinion. So the other thing to know that I think some people don't understand is that most of these casinos that you're going to be on, they are not open 24/7. They'll have a time. A lot of times it's 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, or in certain ports, they won't allow the casino to be open. So you're going to have to know the times that you're involved in. On, like, say, an Alaska cruise, where it may be more port intensive, the casino is going to be even open less a lot of times. So knowing your time and when you're going to get to do things when you plan on playing versus some of the shows you want to watch, it takes a little bit more coordination. So certainly keep that in mind. And possibly most important is that when you are on your last day of the cruise and you've got, say you played slots or you got chips and you've got that certificate or whatever, you have to cash in, because the next morning on embarkation, they're not going to be open and you're not going to be able to get your money on it. So you have to do that, and it's not a maybe, it's something you have to do, because the casino is not going to be open again all night. It's probably going to close 2 o'clock-ish, maybe 3, maybe 1, but that's going to be about it. And if you don't have your stuff cashed, you're going to be up in arms and probably blaming somebody, when actually you should know, and whenever you're playing in the casino, you should know the rules and how things work. So you're going to want to cash out. And even if you're doing a back-to-back cruise, yeah, you're going to have a little bit more leeway, but I would still tell you cash everything out. Chips are chips, but yeah, you don't want to just have that stuff. Just go and cash out and start fresh. And your points will, if you're doing back to back, your points will stop as far as that cruise goes and what you accrued, and you'll start at 0 when you do the second leg of your back to back. Another thing that comes up a lot, and I see this on Facebook too, is that people will say, well, they want to get money out, and they'll tell them, oh, well, just go to the casino there and get some money out of the machine and you'll be good to go. Well, there are some caveats to that people don't understand. First of all, if you don't have a certain status, they can charge you for that, a fee. Maybe better than the ATM's fee, but regardless. And the reason I really wanted to bring it up is because if you're doing that and you go there and you pull up $100, $200 for an excursion, you charge it to your room and you pull it out of there to go somewhere. When you go try to play or take more money out using that way, it's going to have you locked out until you play through at least half of what you took out. You're going to get to where you cannot do it again. And that is including if you play it in the casino. So we found out this from the hard way, where we were trying to get some money to play on the tables, and when you're trying to charge your room, it can take some time. So my wife was playing and she was wanting to get in a table chair available and such, and it can take so long, whereas that she was able to do that on a machine, take out whatever it was, $100, go over to the machine, cash out the ticket. Now you've got cash, or the cashier's desk. Now you've got cash, and you can play the game. Well, it doesn't count that as using the money in the casino. It looks at that as you didn't use it in the machine that you took it out of. And it was very frustrating because we felt like we weren't trying to, put one over or use it as an ATM. We were using it in the casino. And so we thought that would be okay, but we were told very sternly that that is not the way it works. Because my wife was, I think, was a little bit upset because we were in the casino. But that's neither here nor there. I just don't want you guys to have the same problem. We've learned the lessons, no big deal, we move on. But it can be a frustrating thing if you think that, I'm using the casino or anything else. If you're not watching your dollars and you think you spent through half of it and you haven't, you're going to get locked out because the machine knows exactly what you've done. Another thing that comes up quite often is people will say that they're on a cruise ship and the slots are tight. It's hard to win on a cruise ship because the machines are rigged and they have run of whatever they want to do, and you can make the machines pay off more in the morning, or more in the first day, or more in the last day of the cruise, and that is just not how it operates. There are guidelines that are followed, and they cannot alter the machines. I've heard the stories, and the bottom line is that there's a body that covers this. First of all, they use Las Vegas standards, Nevada standards, and this is done through the CLIA. All that information is out there. I may even put a video where I just read through it so you guys understand what the rules are for that. And they have to adhere to those rules. If these casinos were caught cheating and doing these things, if it came out, and we've seen the stories of whatever political thing or something, or the whistleblower of a company, if someone did that corporation would take such a hit. I mean, casinos are huge on cruise ships, huge. And to take that kind of a risk, if it was caught and out there that these machines were rigged and proven, first of all, they do check them. There is, again, a body that goes out and checks to make sure that everybody stays above board in what's happening. But they cannot risk their reputation to do that. So when you hear someone say, oh, well, I've heard it hits better in the mornings, or I heard it hits better on the first day, or I heard it hits better on the last day, or they change the machines, they can do that. They can change the machines. It's not true. The manufacturers they set those machines, and there are some limitations as to what the machine can do, but the machine has its own limitations as to what someone can come in and do. So they can change a little bit as far as how it plays, but they don't have to change. Casinos don't have to. They're going to make money regardless. The whole thing of a casino is to make money, and pretty much every casino makes money. So they don't have to do all these crazy things to try to rip anybody off. They need to just basically follow the guidelines and act like a normal casino, and they're going to be successful, and they are successful. So don't buy into any of that crap that's out there as far as the casinos and being rigged in certain times. It's absolutely not true. Again, you can go on to the website, the CLIA website, and there's guidelines that cover all that stuff. And rest assured, that's just false. The other thing to keep in mind, again, when you're talking about people saying that the casinos are tighter or they pay less, your situation's completely different. You are on a cruise ship. When you go to Vegas, you're going to maybe go to other shows and the Speedway. Now they've got sports that are playing there. Sports teams are moving there. You're going to see circuses and all the crazy shows that are in Vegas. When you're on a cruise ship, you're confined, and they put these things kind of in the center of between everything. So you have to walk. If you're doing stuff, a lot of times you have to walk through the casino to get to the things you want to go to, and they'll be back and forth because it's kind of in the middle of the main things. So you're going to be tempted to play more. And casinos, how they're going to make their money is they want your butt in the chair. It doesn't even matter if you win, because if you play long enough, it's going to go the other direction. And if you've done this, you know how that works. You have a better chance of losing than you do winning. Again, the whole point of any casino is to win. You're going to, and that's the goal, is to keep you in the seat as long as possible. But it also helps you, as I mentioned earlier, as far as your points. So if you can play that and you can play disciplined, that's the only thing that you can control as the player, is you can control you and what you do and how you play. So playing, again, machines that are lower volatility, or knowing when to walk away from a machine. Machines don't necessarily get hot or cold, but there are times to when it's just, it's not your day, as they say. And to recognize that, actually, I got to tell you, I had that yesterday. It was not my day. Day one, I was in the casino, and I won. I got 200 points, and I was up like 20 cents, 21 cents. And day two, yesterday, I was in the casino for maybe an hour and a half, and I lost 200 bucks playing low. So I just said, I'm going to try this another day. And so tonight I'll be back at that. But what I want to get at is that, again, when you're playing in the casino, you're going to be there a lot. But the other thing is these casinos are much smaller. And so they're going to play games that get people's attention. And you do not see the older games that you go and see in a lot of the other casinos. And so you end up playing the flashy games, stuff that they've heard of, the Huff and Puffs and the Dragon Links. And those are the ones that they're high volatility, but you see people winning, and that's what gets the attention. That's what's focused on Facebook, is that they just won $10,000, $20,000 on playing it because they're high volatility games. But more people lost for somebody else to win that. Way more people lost because the dead spins that are involved. That's where you're just spinning and people losing for the one guy that found to hit that. But again, when you are on a casino at sea, they're going to have all the high volatility games, medium to high, or medium, and I try to find as low as I can and try to get really nothing worse than a medium to play. Now I've tried to, because of the channel, to try some of the higher volatility games to see how they would play, as far as to try to just how bad it was. And that was kind of my problem yesterday, as I was playing games that I don't normally play. And quite honestly, there's not a lot of games in the casino on this cruise that I've found that are the lower volatility that I want to play. And it was that way on some other ones. Usually I can find one or two games here on Brilliance. Hex Breakers, if the reels are right, that's kind of what helped me on day one, was playing Hex Breaker. I was down, and that one kind of brought me back up to even. The other thing I want to talk about was some of the so-called skills games that are in casinos. You don't really see these on the land casinos. You see them at sea. And they're a game where you put the key through there and you're trying to aim it, or the crane to pull up wads of money, or the coin pushers. And those are programmed to only let a certain amount of wins happen. So yet that crane has a grip on it, and it will change as to how many times it's went through, as to where it's going to be strong enough to potentially grip and give a win. So just because you aim it perfectly doesn't mean it's going to hold. You see them come out all the time, and you think, oh man, I've got such a good grip on that one. I'm really in the right spot. No, because it hasn't clamped down as hard. Or the key thing, to where you think you've let go of the button at the right time, but it will go farther than what you need to, or off a little bit. Because it's programmed to do that. It's programmed to only let a certain amount of people. It's like a little bit like playing a slot machine. It's luck. There's not the skill. You can do all this aiming, but it's already decided whether you're going to win or not. And the coin pushers, they're fun, but the coin pushers are not as straightforward. So, and sometimes if you're playing it, you'll hear money falling, but it's not falling in the tray, and that is because there's little slits that are on the sides, so it's all packed up and ready to go. Well, instead of pushing it off, it'll push them down to the side, so more money will go off to the side than will actually come out to you. And so you're not gonna win. They put all the stuff out there to give you the best chances, and I actually watched them change those this yesterday morning, and they kind of reset it, pushed the stuff back and reset the bills and had them hanging over the edge and looked enticing. But they redid that area and laid the stuff, whereas it could have been much closer to hitting had they not got in there and set the coins and put the dollars and put the coins on top, so it didn't push as much. Those games, I don't want to use the word rigged, but that's just the way the game plays, is that no one wants to be walking away with, they don't want you to walk away with that money. It's a casino. So they're going to have the game set to where you're probably going to lose more than you win. Coin pushers rarely does somebody come out ahead in a coin pusher game. No skill involved, so just know that. So I'm going to leave you with, I told you there was a kind of a shocking thing involved, and I'm going to just hit you with it because, again, genuinely, I am stunned. If you've played this, if you've played the games there and you watch your points, they put a list out of how many points that you need to get a free cruise, instant cruise certificate I was mentioning earlier. And if it's good, sometimes you can get some sort of offers for as low as 800 points. And usually, I say usually, I hadn't seen until today, yesterday, that it's 1,200. And at 1,200, you would get a free cruise for 2. And again, a selection, and then the more points that you get up, 1,500, 2,000, and 3,000. As you get more points, you would get more cruise offers or better cabins, a better selection. On this cruise, I was shocked because when you got to 1,200 points, even 1,500 points, you got a cabin for 1, and the other one you had to pay. They said it was going to be a discount on it. And if you've done these, you know the offers. It takes on this cruise 2,000 points to get an interior cabin. That is going to really limit who's doing what. And for the people that don't know, because they just assume, because I did. I've played this enough to where I assumed that 1,200 points would get you an instant cruise certificate for 2 people for an interior cabin. It's been that way for years, and I hadn't seen it any different other than 800 points that you see every now and again, depending. And actually, it was a few months ago I had seen it to where at 800 points you had a small offering of things to get. So I'm really curious as to how that's going to play out. When I talked about going to the clubroyaloffers.com, or the email offers, some call it, because they will send these in an email often, as to what those offers are going to look like. If we were already seeing more of the buy one, get one kind of a thing, and there are some ways around that, and I do want to share that with you because it was something I took advantage of. I don't normally pay for cruises, but I got an offer, and I needed, between the cruises, I was trying to fill in the gap just to stay on the same ship, because I had another cruise immediately after, and it's cheaper to cruise. So what I ended up having to do is I had an offer for a buy one get one to fill in that gap, and it was the only offer I had at the time, and I didn't want to wait. But it was a room that I could pick my own room, and it was a room for an ocean view, which I do not care about an ocean view. Quite frankly, I don't care about a balcony. I'm going to come in my room, I'm going to sleep, I'm going to video, I'm going to go to the bathroom, I'm out of the room. So what I did and again, this was just a learning thing for me, and I'm going to share it with you, is that I said, hey, I tried, I'm a cruise, is there anything you can do to help me out and just pay for one? No, they wouldn't do it. They were very polite about it, but it was an absolute no. So I said, was for paying the difference, and I'm supposed to get a discount on it. They'd said what it was, and it was like, I don't know, $400, something like that for the second person. And I asked what I could do if I went from an ocean view to an interior cabin, if I could save money on that second person. And they said, yeah. And so I went from an ocean view to an interior, and I was able to save some more money on that. It brought it in the 300s, high 200s range. And so I said, okay, well, do I get to pick my own room? And they said, yes, this is the offers for you, because some are guaranteed, GTY, some you can actually pick your room. So I said, well, if I can pick my room on this, can I save some more money by letting you pick my room? Because I don't get seasick. I don't care if I'm on the front, the back, high, low, don't care. So I said, can I also exchange that in to get a lower price? And they said, yes, I can. And so I ended up paying like $220, something along those lines, for the second person that's not there. And that made it worthwhile to me, because I couldn't stay at a hotel for those. I think it was a 3 or 4 night cruise. I couldn't have stayed at a hotel for that and get fed and all that. So it was worthwhile. I didn't have to pay the port fees and taxes for someone that wasn't there. So I got mine for free and paid for my port fees and taxes and gratuities. Whereas the second person that I had to pay for, I just paid that extra fee, which again I was able to reduce down significantly by doing it that way. So I hope you find this informative, because to me it was a game changer. And certainly this thing with the points and what they're doing, you know what you're going to know exactly what's out there when you are cruising, because you can no longer assume 800 or 1200 points is enough. Apparently things are changing there, and not necessarily in a good way. So I've got all kinds of videos out there about the casinos. Show the ships rocking. I can see the thing swaying there. I'm on Brilliance of the Seas, and so it's only got 2 stabilizers versus most of them that have 4, and so I can see my phone shaking a little bit. But anyway, if you're looking for more tips and tricks, particularly when it comes to casinos, if you'll check out this video here, you can see all those kind of things. And I've got different videos out. I think I'm up to close to 50 videos now, at least in the 40s somewhere. And I appreciate you watching. It means a lot to me. I appreciate the support of the channel. So if you're looking for any more tips and tricks, just follow along, and would enjoy it and I would appreciate it if you would like and subscribe to the channel. Obviously, it makes a huge difference for what we're doing. And thanks for watching.